Welcome to Window on Well Street, a program that shares information about delayed food sensitivities. Sensitivities that may cause symptoms like migraine headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, fatigue, stress, and even ADD or ADHD, to mention a few. I'm Robert Chesney, your host, and in today's program, we're going to be discussing the Immuno Blood Print. This is a simple blood test that identifies foods which could be the cause of many of these symptoms. And we're so pleased to have with us today Dr. Mikkel Parsons from her practice in Fresno, California. Welcome, Dr. Parsons.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone knows today that the United States is on a campaign to stop obesity in our young people, but if you go to a fast food restaurant, there you will see many of these overweight children, as well as their parents. You treat so many families and people of all ages. Would you share with us what you see as antidotes to help reduce obesity in children?
One of the foundational things that has to be addressed is not necessarily the child, but the parents or the caregivers. That child is going to model the behavior of what they are seeing in the home. And for many families, their whole diet is based on misinformation and unhealthy foods. It doesn't work to try to get a child who is at risk to burn fat, lose weight, when mom and dad are still swigging down the sodas and eating a lot of white flour. So to reduce my frustration, I require that the parents also be a part of the process. So what happens is we get a whole family weight loss situation occurring because these kids aren't out grocery shopping. They're not out driving to McDonald's. Someone's getting them there and someone is buying that food. So you're either going to set your family up to succeed or you're going to create an environment that's going to be very harmful for them. And as you know, childhood obesity and childhood illnesses are going up in addition to them developing adult type of illnesses because of diet. It is so frustrating for me when I'm out and the children know every menu item of every fast food restaurant because they do dashboard dining in between their soccer games. That just is heartbreaking for me because I know down the road what they're going to be facing. And we teach our children from the get-go what their food preferences are. I hear all the time, well, my child won't eat that, they won't like that. Well, why won't they eat it? Well, I don't like it. Well, of course they're not going to like it. You didn't even give them a chance to try. So sometimes it's getting through the parents that they have to open up their mind that food is not going to be scary. It's something that you need to taste and experiment with, and there's different ways of preparing it. So it's getting them to open up and be ready to make changes in themselves. I have had several families over the years that this was such a huge problem that I ended up sending them to marital counseling because one spouse was on board and the other wanted to keep their donuts and bagels. And it was causing marital problems. We have such a deep-seated food addiction and food idolatry that it's really destroying some of the families. And it's truly devastating because it doesn't have to be that way.
Dr. Parsons, where do you believe that food sensitivity testing could fit into this entire obesity picture?
For some kids, their weight gain is due to a food sensitivity. So when we think about foods, we like to think of them as something nurturing that's going to build us up. But for some of us, and I'm one of them, there are foods that are the fast track to weight gain. And just to ask any woman, she'll tell you, oh, if I eat that, I'm going to gain 3 pounds. Well, those things can happen. So with our kids, they're walking chemistry labs just like we are. So it's important that we do the sensitivity testing and figure out what they can have. And once they eliminate those foods, then when you reintroduce, you're able to open up their foods to get more of a variety again. But we are in a chemically laden world. There is no place that's not been touched by pollution, whether it's air, water, whatever. And we need to know that that causes a problem in the body. And if we're living in a toxic world and eating toxic food, that gets stored in fat and the body's not going to let you lose that weight. So if you're doing that as a child, you are setting them up to die a miserable, unhappy death.
Could you share with us a success story, Dr. Parsons, where you have been able to detect that food sensitivities are a problem? And how's that all worked out, particularly with weight loss?
I've had several families where we were able to identify the foods, get them set up on a program, and through just changing their eating, we would start to see a shift in the weight. Now, for some, if there's a toxicity issue, we do need to do some supplementation. Exercise, no matter what, is always going to be an important part. And what I mean by exercise, I don't buy the, well, I move during the day at work. Well, of course you do. We're supposed to move. But when we exercise, you need to break a sweat. You need to get your heart rate up. You need to build up muscle. It's the whole package. So just because you exist on the planet and you move a limb doesn't count as exercise. So it's getting the whole wellness, healthy mindset. I love the saying, if you want to be healthy, live like a healthy person. Well, what does that look like? And sometimes you have to coach it out of people because they don't even know anymore. They don't know what health looks like, and they can't even picture themselves being healthy. So then how can we get them to teach their children how to be healthy? This is really a universal problem. So with some of these families, in getting them the healthy mindset, giving them a picture of what they want to look like and feel like, it's a combination of all of those things to get someone into fat burning, and then teaching them how to maintain it, yet still live in a very toxic world. It is possible.
Thanks so much, Dr. Parsons. Your comments are very enlightening. We're going to continue with Window on Well Street after the break, but may I encourage those of you watching who may have a family member, a friend, or a coworker experiencing similar health issues, please forward the link of this video to them. They'll be very indebted to you for doing so. And if you haven't had your immuno blood print, please learn more. Do yourself a favor and get tested. I did. Remember, there's a hidden link between what you eat and how you feel. I'm Robert Chesney, and we'll be right back with more Window on Well Street.